The conservative movement's most shocking assassination just took another explosive turn, and what the FBI just revealed about the Charlie Kirk shooter is sending shockwaves through the investigation. The 31-year-old founder of Turning Point USA, who was Donald Trump's closest youth activist ally, was gunned down execution-style at Utah Valley University on September 10, 2025, in what officials are calling a targeted political assassination. But that's not even the craziest part. The FBI has now released never-before-seen images of the person of interest, and the details emerging about this calculated attack are absolutely chilling. The manhunt that has gripped the nation for over 48 hours just entered a critical new phase when the FBI's Salt Lake City field office made public 2 surveillance images of the suspected shooter. These aren't just random photos. They're the result of an around-the-clock investigation that has tracked the assassin's every movement from the moment he stepped onto campus. And here's what makes this case even more disturbing. Authorities have confirmed they possess good video footage of the entire sequence, showing exactly how this college-age killer executed one of the most brazen political assassinations in recent American history. What happened at Utah Valley University that Wednesday afternoon has been reconstructed with terrifying precision. The timeline authorities have pieced together reads like something out of a political thriller. At exactly 11:52 a.m., the suspect arrived on the Orem campus, blending in seamlessly with the college crowd of approximately 3,000 students who had gathered for Kirk's Prove Me Wrong debate table. This wasn't some random act of violence. This was a meticulously planned assassination that required intimate knowledge of the campus layout and Kirk's security arrangements. Utah Department of Public Safety Commissioner Bo Mason revealed the chilling sequence of events that followed. The shooter navigated through campus stairwells with the confidence of someone who had clearly scouted the location beforehand. He made his way to the roof of the Luzy Center, a student services building positioned approximately 140 yards from where Kirk was speaking. From this elevated vantage point, the assassin had a clear line of sight to the outdoor courtyard where Kirk was engaging in his signature political debates with students. But we'll come back to that, but first, the weapon recovery that just changed everything about this case. The FBI has confirmed they've recovered what they believe to be the murder weapon, a high-powered bolt-action rifle discovered in the wooded area where the shooter fled after jumping off the building. Special Agent in Charge Robert Bowles announced that this rifle is now being analyzed at the FBI laboratory, along with crucial evidence including footwear impressions, palm prints, and forearm imprints collected at the scene. Here's where the investigation gets even more intense. The Wall Street Journal is reporting that the recovered weapon and ammunition were marked with transgender and anti-fascist symbols, suggesting this wasn't just a random act of political violence but potentially an ideologically motivated assassination. These details haven't been officially confirmed by federal authorities, but if true, they could provide the first concrete clues about the shooter's motive, something that has remained frustratingly elusive throughout this investigation. The moment of the assassination itself was captured in horrifying detail by multiple witnesses and security cameras. Kirk was in the middle of answering a provocative question about mass shootings and transgender individuals when the single gunshot rang out at approximately 12:20 p.m. Video footage shows Kirk instinctively grabbing his neck before collapsing from his chair, blood streaming from the wound as chaos erupted among the terrified crowd. The precision of this shot, fired from nearly 150 yards away, demonstrates that this was no amateur operation. And yes, there's a twist coming you probably didn't expect. In the immediate aftermath of the shooting, social media exploded with false accusations and misinformation. A 77-year-old retired banker from Toronto named Michael Mallinson found himself at the center of a bizarre case of mistaken identity when his photo was circulated online, incorrectly identifying him as the shooter. The confusion stemmed from his resemblance to one of the individuals briefly detained by law enforcement, highlighting how quickly false information can spread in the chaotic aftermath of major news events. Do you think this level of political violence was inevitable given the current climate in America? The assassination has reignited intense debates about the escalating threats facing public figures across the political spectrum. House Speaker Mike Johnson revealed that Capitol Police have documented approximately 14,000 threatening incidents so far this year, compared to 9,000 in all of 2024. This represents a staggering 55% increase in politically motivated threats, creating an environment where many lawmakers are reportedly seeking enhanced security measures. The investigation has revealed just how sophisticated this attack was. Commissioner Mason detailed how law enforcement was able to track the shooter's movements with unprecedented precision. After firing the fatal shot, the assassin moved to the other side of the Luzy Center building, jumped off, and fled into a nearby neighborhood. The fact that investigators could track these movements so accurately suggests the campus had comprehensive surveillance coverage that captured nearly every step of the assassination sequence. What makes this case particularly haunting is how the shooter seemed to vanish into thin air after reaching the residential area adjacent to the campus. Despite an immediate lockdown and extensive search operations involving federal, state, and local law enforcement agencies, the killer managed to evade capture. Investigators spent hours going door to door in the neighborhood, collecting doorbell camera footage and interviewing potential witnesses, but the trail has remained frustratingly cold. The political implications of Kirk's assassination cannot be overstated. The 31-year-old conservative activist was far more than just another political commentator. He was the architect of the modern MAGA youth movement. Since founding Turning Point USA at age 18 in 2012, Kirk had built an empire with over 850 college chapters and millions of online followers. His organization reported annual revenues of approximately $100 million and was credited with registering tens of thousands of new voters for Trump's campaigns. Trump's response to the assassination was swift and controversial. Rather than focusing solely on condemnation of violence, the president specifically blamed radical left political violence and promised to find each and every one of those who contributed to this atrocity. This rhetoric has drawn criticism from some quarters who argue it could inflame tensions further, while supporters see it as justified outrage over the targeting of conservative figures. The FBI's investigation has now received over 130 tips from the public, but authorities remain tight-lipped about potential leads. The decision to release the surveillance images represents a significant escalation in their public appeal for information. The two photos show what appears to be a figure in dark clothing, captured in stairwells and other campus locations during the critical time frame of the attack. How do you think this assassination will change security protocols for political figures going forward? The fact that Kirk was killed despite having private security and the presence of 6 campus police officers raises serious questions about protection for non-government political figures. The outdoor nature of his Prove Me Wrong events, which deliberately encouraged confrontational exchanges with ideological opponents, created inherent security challenges that may now need complete re-evaluation. The investigation has also revealed concerning details about the event's security arrangements. Despite being one of the most recognizable conservative figures in America, there were no security screenings for the approximately 3,000 attendees who gathered for Kirk's debate. This open-access format was central to Kirk's brand of campus activism, but it also created vulnerabilities that his assassin was apparently able to exploit. Utah Governor Spencer Cox's characterization of the killing as a political assassination has added gravity to what many see as an escalating pattern of political violence in America. The shooting comes amid a troubling trend that has affected figures across the political spectrum, from assassination attempts on Trump to attacks on Democratic lawmakers and their families. This bipartisan nature of recent political violence has led to calls for national introspection about the inflammatory rhetoric that may be contributing to such attacks. The manhunt continues with unprecedented resources being deployed. The FBI has committed full resources including tactical, operational, investigative, and intelligence assets to the case. The agency is working in coordination with Utah state authorities and local law enforcement in what they describe as managing multiple active crime scenes. The fact that the shooter remains at large more than 48 hours after the assassination represents one of the most high-profile manhunts in recent memory. One of the most chilling aspects of this case is how the shooter was able to blend in with the college crowd, as Commissioner Mason described. This suggests either that the assassin was genuinely a college-aged individual, or someone skilled enough to convincingly pose as one. The ability to navigate campus security and reach the optimal shooting position without raising suspicion demonstrates a level of planning and preparation that has law enforcement deeply concerned. The impact on the conservative movement has been immediate and profound. Turning Point USA announced the cancellation of several upcoming campus events while they reassess security protocols. The organization's massive social media following has been flooded with tributes to Kirk, but also with calls for increased protection for conservative activists who regularly engage in confrontational political debates on college campuses. The timing of the assassination, coming at the start of what was supposed to be Kirk's fall semester American comeback tour, has symbolic significance that hasn't been lost on investigators. The first event of this major campus tour becoming the site of his murder suggests the shooter may have specifically targeted this high-profile launch to maximize impact and media coverage. And here's the most disturbing revelation yet. The precision and planning evident in this assassination bear hallmarks of someone with either extensive firearms training or detailed knowledge of the target's routines and security arrangements. Former FBI officials commenting on the case have noted that the successful escape despite immediate law enforcement response indicates this was not the work of an impulsive individual, but someone who had carefully planned both the attack and their exit strategy. President Trump's announcement that he will posthumously award Kirk the Presidential Medal of Freedom underscores the victim's significance to the MAGA movement. This highest civilian honor, typically reserved for individuals with decades of public service, speaks to the extraordinary influence Kirk wielded despite being only 31 years old at the time of his death. The investigation has also uncovered evidence that contradicts early reports about potential suspects. 2 individuals were briefly detained in the immediate aftermath of the shooting, leading to initial speculation about their involvement. However, authorities quickly determined neither had any connection to the assassination, and both were released without charges. This rapid elimination of false leads demonstrates the professional competence of the investigation, while highlighting how quickly misinformation can spread in high-profile cases. Do you believe this assassination will lead to changes in how political figures interact with the public? The open, confrontational format of Kirk's Prove Me Wrong debates was central to his political brand and effectiveness as a conservative activist. The fact that this accessibility may have contributed to his vulnerability presents a tragic irony that political commentators are already analyzing for its broader implications. The FBI's decision to withhold the higher quality video footage while releasing these specific surveillance images suggests they may be close to identifying the suspect through other means. Law enforcement sources have indicated they are employing facial recognition technology and other advanced investigative tools to analyze the evidence they've collected. Utah Valley University has remained closed through the weekend, with classes suspended as the investigation continues and the campus community processes the trauma of witnessing a political assassination. The university's statement reaffirming its commitment to free speech and open dialogue, even in the wake of this tragedy, reflects the complex challenge of maintaining democratic discourse while ensuring public safety. The broader implications of Kirk's assassination extend far beyond the conservative movement. Political violence experts are pointing to this killing as potentially representing a new escalation in the targeting of media figures and activists, as opposed to traditional elected officials. This shift toward targeting influential unelected voices could have profound implications for political discourse and civic engagement in America. The investigation's next phase will likely focus on the digital forensics and social media analysis that have become standard in modern assassination cases. The suspect's ability to plan and execute such a sophisticated attack suggests they may have left digital footprints that investigators are now working to uncover. The FBI's cyber division is reportedly involved in analyzing potential online communications and planning activities related to the case. As this manhunt enters its third day, the pressure on law enforcement to produce results is intensifying. The FBI's public release of surveillance images represents a calculated risk. While it may generate the tip that leads to the shooter's capture, it also alerts the suspect that authorities have clear visual evidence of their identity. This timing suggests investigators may have exhausted other leads and are now banking on public assistance to break the case open. The political ramifications of this assassination will likely reverberate through the 2026 midterm elections and beyond. Kirk's role in mobilizing young conservative voters was considered crucial to Republican electoral strategies, and his death leaves a significant void in the party's youth outreach apparatus. The question of who, if anyone, can fill his unique role as a bridge between traditional conservatism and the MAGA movement remains unanswered. This case represents more than just another tragic example of political violence. It's a potential inflection point in American political discourse. The successful assassination of such a prominent figure, carried out with military-style precision in broad daylight at a public event, sends a chilling message about the vulnerability of political leaders and activists across the spectrum. Whether this leads to meaningful changes in how we conduct political discourse, or simply escalates the cycle of violence and recrimination, may well determine the future of democratic engagement in America. Call to action: this story is developing rapidly and will continue bringing you the latest updates as the FBI manhunt intensifies.